Welcome to Thursdays at 9, a production done with the courteous help of Missoula Community Access Television, that's MCAT. This is Thursdays at 9, and tonight we present The Goat's Head. The Goat's Head. My name is McCarthy Coyle, and I'm the producer of Thursdays at 9. Those individuals and families who are concerned with the complexities of language, caveat emptor. The Goat's Head, Montana, 1984. I moved to the lake for the summer. I have located a cheap rental, what was once a migrant fruit picker's shack sitting on the edge of a cherry orchard on the lakefront property of a trucking magnate. The rent is $600, Memorial Day to Labor Day. I give the landlady $500 and tell her I'll pay the last $100 in July. I arrive with my typewriter, a cardboard box full of clothing, and the head of a white mountain goat. The goat had been killed many years before, hunted down in the mountains by my buddy, Mick. Mick gave me the taxidermed result when he joined up with the People for the Ethical Treatment of Animals. I vacuumed thousands of dead fruit flies out of my shack, tack aluminum foil over 3 holes in the ceiling where the rain drips through, scrub out the bathroom, make the bed, and hang the goat's head on a nail over my typewriter. The goat's glassy eyes glitter, staring into nothing, staring into nothingness. And I began that summer to write a play about my dead sister. Sometimes, when the words came too slowly, I would take the goat down and chase my terrified basset hound, Dixie, all around the orchard. The millionaire trucker and his family only showed up on weekends. They arrive in tandem. First, the wife, in a custom-painted purple and white Cadillac. Not far behind is her husband, accompanied by their teenage son, and the boy drives one of the company's huge tow trucks decorated in the same purple and white as the caddy, and behind the tow truck comes the boat trailer carrying an enormous purple and white cabin cruiser. Purple and white. Logo colors. On the other side of the orchard live my friends, Elaine and Sparky. They are not wealthy. They live in an old bungalow which has been in Sparky's family for 40 years, long before the lake had become the province of the wealthy. Elaine makes a bare-bone living as a ceramic potter. Sparky? Sparky's a numbers man, not a gambler, just an accountant who does the books for successful hippies, herbalists, chiropractors, coffee house proprietors. Invariably, I am over there with Elaine and Sparky sharing dinner, and when Elaine is not at her potter's wheel and Sparky is not working on spreadsheets, we play cribbage, get high, swim, and drink beer. Elaine and I flirt a lot. Amongst her flower gardens and raspberry patch, we twitter and coo. And Sparky is glad because it relieves him of those affectionate displays which Elaine craves and he is embarrassed by. Once in a while he will look at us through narrowed eyes, but finally he understands that we will not create a breach, that she and I are happier in the air than we could ever be in the rut. I wonder if he senses that I am waiting for the cherry harvest, waiting for the arrival of the fruit pickers and their tents. The cherry blossoms have all blown away now, and I wander through the orchard plucking the earliest fruit, enjoying the juice dribbling down my chest, dashing up to Elaine and bestowing a purplish kiss. Sometimes I help her burn the prunings left from the springtime, and she mixes these cherry ashes into the clay and the platters and bowls emerge from her kiln with streamers of pink and rose and lavender baked into the glaze. Summer visitors see her sign up at the end of the driveway and come down to the house and marvel at her work, and they sign checks and leave happily with blue bowls and rose mugs and green platters. Now there is a woman named Irene, and Irene is a millionaire summer resident from Texas. She leaves her oil-pumping husband behind and leases a nearby estate. And while her 8-year-old twin daughters play Pac-Man in the den, she arrives back from the bars up the lake with Indians she can make love to. And they take her cash. Irene has leathery. When she has not been successful on the flesh hunt up in Big Fork, Irene grows bored and she drops by Elaine and Sparky's on her way home. She always wears shorts and a halter, displaying her thin and anxious wares. She flirts with Sparky, but her eyes are on me. She wants to know about my writing. She asks if she can see my shack, look at my work. I've never known a real writer. Are you published? How much do you make at being a writer anyway? I write sometimes. My life would make a really good book. So I take her over to my shack. I open my manuscript and I read and explain. Irene, you see, the play is called Drawing Down the Moon, and what I'm going to read you is the speech of this young woman, a lesbian, and she's really a fierce individual, but she's got cancer, see, and she's going to die, and what I'll read you is when she's talking to her mother about dying. Well, goddamn, what is that animal hanging up there? Well, that's my talisman. I call her Annie. She's a mountain goat. A friend of mine shot her. They're really quite rare. Well, what's a talisman? Irene has now spread herself out on my bed. Oh, just sort of a good luck piece. Irene says, I'm never lucky. My old man would love to have that trophy. He's got deer heads and a buffalo head and a moose head, but he doesn't have anything like that goat. They're probably worth a lot of money, huh? She is massaging her leg. I close my manuscript. Well, Irene, you can hear this another time. No, read it. I'm really interested. Well, okay. The daughter's speech goes like this. Listen, Mother, I'm going to be buried in a cherry orchard, and you know what I'm yearning for? What I want you to pray for? I want you to pray that my bones will simply melt into the earth beneath those cherry trees, and then rise up with the trunk, and then my arms will fly up and out with the branches, and every spring I'll blossom, and the bees will make honey, and deer will come along and nibble my buds and then bolt through the woods, and I'll go with them, running, and every summer, just like me and Diane do, folks will come along and pick up a few bucks picking cherries, you know, summer migrants, picking cherries and sleeping under the branches at night. And there will be birds singing. Yes, birds singing. And then finally, when I'm old, somebody will come along and cut me down and make me into a cherry wood rocker or a flute. And what's left over, they can burn for heat in the wood stove. And that's about as far as I can go with imagining an afterlife. It's enough. Mom, isn't it? Mother, it's enough. It's enough. I looked over at Irene. She seemed to be asleep, but then she sat up and said, You know, I can't stand lesbians and queers. I loathe the very idea of it. I don't know how they can do that stuff. It just makes my stomach turn. Irene got off of the bed and came to my side, put her hand inside my shirt. I really have to get to bed, Irene. When I'm writing, I keep to a very strict schedule. I walked her back to her car, chuckling over my lie about a strict schedule. And as I came back alone through the orchard, the landlord's son was standing under a tree in the darkness. "Hey, I'm going down for a late night swim. Want to go with me?" I did want to go, but I begged off. "Did you lay her? That lady that was here?" "Nope, not my type." "Yeah, I guess not," the boy replied. The cherries were full of juice, and the pickers began arriving. A couple of Mexican guys who I recalled from the year before, and a husband and wife showed up with 2 kids following the harvest from the Okanagan Valley. And finally, the migrant I'd been looking for, an old hippie, well-traveled, a tumble of hair, some gray, pulled back in a ponytail, thin but strong. And we gave each other the hairy eyeball, and I quickly got to be familiar with the inside of his teepee. He'd put up the poles in the woods at the edge of the property, far away from the houses, where we could make animal noises. And we did. And we crammed, and we jammed, and we tasted sweat. And on 6 of those harvest nights, those cherry harvest nights, I gave away 6 weeks' worth of lust. And then he was gone, and Elaine said to me the next morning, "Gosh, I think picking fruit's good for you. You seem really mellow." I smiled. I guess. The landlady's son encountered me again. "That old hippie sure was a good picker, huh?" "Mm-hmm. Yep, he sure was. 16 cases that last day. He had a nice teepee." "Mm-hmm. Yep. He made it himself. It was neat the way you could see the shadows in there when the lantern was on. I was walking by one night. I saw the shadows. I saw the shadows all moving against the canvas." "Mm-hmm. Yep." "I got a tent," he said. "I might set it up. You could come up in the woods and visit me." "I don't know. I've still got a lot of work going on. I don't think it's a good idea." He grew red in the face. "What's the matter? I'm not good enough for you? You think you're such a big deal because you're a writer or something? You don't have a pot to piss in, is what my dad says. Well, screw you." The next day, the landlady, dressed in a purple and white blouse, came to the shack. "You still owe us $100. Didn't you say you'd have it by the middle of July? It's almost August now." "Yeah, I'm very sorry. I'm waiting for a check for this article I sold. And, they always put freelancers at the bottom of the list. I'll get it to you as soon as I can." Fortunately, the owners were still only coming up on weekends, and after that last encounter, I stayed well out of sight on Saturdays and Sundays, because my money hadn't come in. And when I did spot the property owners, I would quickly disappear. Anyway, I advertised the goat's head in the Flathead Shopper. "Mountain goat trophy, excellent taxidermy, best offer. See at Cherry Glaze Pottery, $100. But nobody showed up. It was not a goat's market. Elaine, Sparky, and I threw a big party for Labor Day, and many of our friends came up from the city. We played bocce ball in the orchard, and croquet, and badminton. We grilled fresh fish, and we ate angel-headed mushrooms and jumped nakedly off the dock and screamed when we hit the water. And when it grew dark, we lit a huge bonfire on the beach. And in the darkness outside the edge of the bonfire, I did not see my landlord's son walking down the beach from their boat dock. He comes up and he sticks his face right into mine. "You owe us $100, and you better pay it right now." Already at 17, he has the umbrage of the inheriting son. $100 is not to be ignored, I think. I should have thrown him a $100 blast when he'd been looking for it. That would have covered the rent. My friends are silent. They knew nothing about any of this. And now the boy's mother comes up and joins the fray, eagerly. You're a goddamn deadbeat is what you are. You think you can cheat us? Run out on the rent? You think we're made of money? Is that it? And finally, the husband, the father, storms up, and I am looking at three angry rich people dressed in purple and white, shorts, shirts, and socks, all purple and white. Yeah, well, look. I know all about you Missoula radicals. Bunch of freeloading, dope-smoking a-holes. So you're a writer, huh? One of those writers who can't even pay the rent? Well, I know what I can do with your baloney writing. I can burn it. I hadn't seen the papers the older man is holding. It's my play. There are no copies. He's been in my space. Took my manuscript. And maybe your friends here can come up with $100, or else I'm burning this trash, and I've got your typewriter locked in my house already. You've got exactly 1 hour to pay the goddamn balance, or your papers burn, and I keep the typewriter. Ignoring the pleas of my friends, I run up the hill to the shack. I take the goat's head down from the wall. I rest the goat head on the handlebars of my bicycle and pedal furiously around the point to Irene's house. She had said her husband would like this trophy. I carry in the goat's head and I blurt out, "Look, Irene, I'm in a real bind. I need to raise $100 right this minute. And I was wondering, well, you said your husband would really like to own this trophy. Well, it is pretty rare. You could surprise him. Look, it's in very good condition. I mean, you can't hardly even hunt a goat down anymore." Irene stares at me, stares at the goat. Then she turns away and continues packing up her summer belongings. And even if you didn't want to buy it, well, maybe you could loan me the money and keep the goat's head as collateral, because actually, like I told you, well, Annie, I mean the goat, well, Annie's my talisman, and I'd really rather keep her, and then I'd send you the money, and you could give me back the goat's head next summer. I mean, if you still had it. Irene takes a frozen pizza out of the fridge and pings on the microwave, calls her little girls in from the porch, lights up a true, freshens her drink, fixes me a gin. Her bedroom door is ajar, and I can see the naked butt of a man. He is snoring. Irene hums along with the radio an old Tex Ritter song about love and poverty as she leafs through a cosmopolitan magazine, and then she closes it with a snap, looks at me very boldly, and says, "When I was over at the Safeway in Polson this afternoon, they had a hiring sign up where they need stock clerks and box boys. Yes, immediately. You could start tomorrow." She was brazen, and she had a peculiar way of looking me right in the eye by staring at the bridge of my nose. I summoned up as much dignity as I could and mumbled my excuses for intruding, and I was already on my bike when she came out on the porch and called out, "Would you eat my pussy for $100? I laughed. I biked back around the point with the goat's head. Elaine was sitting inside my shack when I returned. She was sketching in India ink some wintertime cherry trees. The trunks and the naked branches had been transfigured into women holding up a full moon in their leafless branches. Elaine said, "See, they're drawing down the moon, just like in your play." I began sobbing. My typewriter is back on the desk. The manuscript is resting there. Elaine said, "Hey, it's not worth bothering about. $100? I can spare 100. I had good sales this summer. Why didn't you ever say anything? I just went over and gave it to those a-holes. You'll pay me back. It's nothing. I told her about my encounter with Irene. Elaine said, "Why, that bitch. I can just see you bagging groceries in Polson. I can just see it." And laughing, we fell into each other's arms. And later, alone in the darkness, I lay on my bed. I can see the goat's glass eyes glittering, reflecting the moonlight poking in the window. I feel sad. I feel sad for this creature which is no longer a creature. I got up, took the white-haired trophy down, and carried it far up into the woods. And I buried it. I buried it deep.
This is Jessica Jelly reporting on the very unusual, mysterious circumstances of the discovery of Buster Brown's body found in the backyard in a quiet neighborhood in Missoula, Montana this afternoon. Police are baffled by the string of unusual clues and the position of the body itself in the pea patch of a neighborhood not known for violence or foul play. Of course, this all may be supposition by the police, but as it stands now, at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, 1:10 to be precise, the clues add up to nothing. This is Jessica Jelly asking each one of you, citizens of Missoula, to help solve this heinous crime, if it is a crime indeed. More later, as things develop. Okay, camera's on you. On your face. I'm gonna flip this camera and you flip. This is Jessica Jelly back on the scene of the crime here, trying to decipher the many perplexing clues that face our Missoula City Police Force detectives and you, the citizens of Missoula. After all, we've called upon you for your help, and if you do have any clues or know about the whereabouts of anyone suspected in this foul play of Buster Brown's death, if it is indeed foul play, please call in and let us know just exactly what your deductions are. There are several very perplexing clues left here at the scene of the crime. One is pills, a multitude of pills, more pills than I've ever known anyone to take at once. Vasotec, diazepam, and for several different people. It's very strange because these prescriptions are written to several people, not just Buster Brown, indicating that maybe more than one person was here on a pill-taking spree with Buster Brown the night of the murder. For example, could you get a shot of this, Bill? Take 2 tablets by the mouth every day with food. I mean, that implies some very serious serious conditions. Salt Lake City, some of these are quite bitter pills to swallow. Another perplexing clue, room number 239, midnight, written on the inside of a matchbook cover. Very strange. Holiday. Who knows? Who knows what kind of transactions were taking place here? God, this is hard, hot work being a detective. Also, other things that may or may not be clues, may be red herrings in this investigation. A telephone directory here of several different, different entries. Tower Air, who knows what that really means, and the phone number, an 800 number. Howard Steinman, obviously out-of-state number. Here we have Arella, and it's very difficult to know which are real clues and which are not. And the police are baffled by this very kind of open-ended telephone directory that may or may not have belonged to Buster Brown. See, this stuff kind of goes in here, I guess. And then also keys, Bear Trap Hot Springs. This opener might have been used by the late Buster Brown, or it may be that these are the car keys, that these keys could possess the fingerprints and clues to a car which may lead to the identity of the killer. We just don't know. A checkbook with an adult single ticket to the Dublin area rapid transit. What does that have to do with the murder? Anything? Pepper shaker, pepper grinder actually, fully functioning. Does this mean that the murderer liked pepper, or was it just John Brown's personal pepper shaker that has nothing to do, really, with the murder itself? I'll keep you on the update. This is Jessica Jelly, here investigating, helping you investigate the murder, or was it just a heart attack from not taking enough pills of Buster Brown's body? This is Jessica Jelly signing off. Jelly here again at the scene of the crime on the hot summer day in July, Missoula, Montana. We're trying to add up the clues on the strange death of Buster Brown, John Brown's brother. Buster Brown's demise in the backyard in a peaceful garden setting, in a quiet neighborhood in Missoula, Montana. Let's add up the clues here. Could it be that Buster Brown, having painted a woman who gathered potatoes and breasts, was done in by her after the unflattering portrait that he painted? Could it be that the aurora borealis suddenly descended, that the weeks and months of rain depressed Buster Brown, and he fell suddenly from the ladder picking cherries on a hot afternoon? Could it be that a neighbor, distraught, upset about lending Buster Brown a handsaw and its non-returnable nature, suddenly threw this neighbor into a fit of rage, and he or she bludgeoned Buster Brown with a hammer repeatedly until he fell into the peas? Or could it be there was a snake in the grass? A snake who wound up the leg of Buster Brown and bit him, striking him repeatedly in parts not mentionable on public access television. We have to carefully and quietly and in contemplation contemplate these clues. We have to look at all sides of the story with and without a sense of humor. We have to listen to the spirits that surround us and the very mortal kinds of voices that occur to us when deciphering any puzzle, any mystery, any crime, any perceived crime, any possible drowning even of the clues, of the evidence, any misrepresentation of anyone living or dead. And we must keep in mind that any references to anyone living or dead are purely fictional at this point. But we also must be vigilant, because this could happen in any of our backyards, at any time of the year, at any possible juncture of any international crisis. This could be happening to us. We could fall from the ladder. We could be struck by a snake. We could be struck by a hammer. We could be sawed in half at the hand of a magician. And we need to be vigilant. So I'm pleading to you, citizens of Missoula, call in now. Tell us what you know about any actual or perceived or imagined crime that you may have taken part in, witnessed, or suspect. And I also expect you all to be stinging gadflies at the ankles of corruption. I expect you to be confidential in this manner and not reveal any hint of innuendo at any possible intersection of the truth and reality. Thank you, Missoula. Thank you for your constant eye on these problems. I'll be hearing from you soon. This is Jessica Jelly, MCAT. Good night.
This program has been brought to you through the equipment, facilities, and production help of Missoula Community Access Television. The show is called Thursdays at 9. The producers, Sean Gantz and Matt Coyle. Hello there. This is Thursdays at 9, and today is Thursday, July the 16th, 1998, only 18 months away from the moment when the computer glitch is liable to explode the world. My name is McCarthy Coyle, and as some of you know, Sean Gant and I are continuing our investigative series here in Missoula, Montana. We're preparing for a sweeps week, which means that we're in heavy competition with both KPAX, the Fox channel, and of course KECI. Stand by, because we have some very important interviews coming up. These will be rapid fire, significant, and you folks at home can get your papers and pens or pencils, whichever you prefer, or sit at your computer and type in your answers and then mail them to MCAT, and so that we can do the complete survey and forward it to the National Cable Television Association to show them the importance of the work that we're doing here in Missoula. This is Thursdays at 9. This is McCarthy Coyle signing off, and Sean Gant behind the camera. We'll see you later, folks. Stand by. Fade down, fade down, fade down. We're talking now with Chris Friedman, who's a chef, cook, a server, waiter sometimes. Chris,
yes.
Are you ready?
I'm ready.
This is an important interview.
Hit me.
Okay, this is for the sweeps week.
Okay.
Do you possess a virtual identity?
Yes.
What keeps helicopters aloft?
Air.
What is the physics of dandelion growth?
Water.
Who controls pineapples?
Hawaii.
When do moths, that's M-O-T-H-S, and ants collide?
In nature.
How does a mouse fly, the higher or the faster?
Faster.
When is a race over?
In the end.
In the end?
In the end.
Why is white not a color?
Good question. I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know why white is not a color.
You're from Missoula?
I'm from Jersey.
Well, I guess that explains it. Do you prefer broccoli or cauliflower, and why?
Broccoli, because it's green.
Do you recall the incident when President Bush puked in the lap of the Japanese Prime Minister?
I do.
What did you think of that?
I thought it was hilarious.
Yeah.
Under the table and all.
Why are the 3 red X's art, public art?
They're not.
What about the squash cat by the parking garage?
Should be picked up.
And how are you related to Madonna anyway?
She's my third cousin's sister's brother.
Is that on your mother's side or your father's side?
Father's side.
Your father's side.
Yes.
What is your father's side?
My father's side is French-Canadian.
French-Canadian?
Yes.
How is your screenplay coming along?
Screenplay's coming well. I'm working with Jodie Foster, and we're just moving right along.
Great. And why do politicians think they should be elected because their grandmother was born in Montana?
Silly idea, I think. It shouldn't be a rule at all.
And what's the difference between gargle and gargoyle?
One is a blood-curdling sound.
Spell gargoyle, please.
G-A-R-G-O-Y-L-E.
Very good. Who makes the rules about cross-dressing?
Men.
Men. Okay. And who do you think is the more handsome, Mayor Mike Cadiz or the former Mayor Dan Kemmis?
I think Mike Cadiz is a handsome fellow.
Why does Max Baucus believe there are no railroad trains in China?
Max Baucus just doesn't get it.
And are you excited about the Reserve Street expansion?
It's a pain in the ass.
And do you believe in low flush toilets?
I do.
Why?
Saves water.
And how do you believe the dispute at Missoula Community Access Television should be resolved?
I don't know. I think you went well with it, going public with it, and showing it. I think that's the correct course to go with it.
That wraps it up for today, Chris. Do you have anything to add before we turn this over to someone else?
I think MCAT rocks.
Thank you very much. Fade down, please.
Hey, I'm here with Sue Silverberg, and we're right outside of Carlos One Night Stand, and it's Thursday afternoon. It's starting to heat up a little bit, and we've got some questions for Sue. Sue, do you possess a virtual identity?
What do you mean?
On the net?
No, I don't.
No. Why?
I'm not a computer person at all.
What keeps helicopters aloft?
They're, what do you call it? The thing on the top.
Yeah.
That makes it spin.
Yeah, that,
I I can't think of what it's called.
Is it a propeller?
Propeller.
Yeah.
The propeller.
That's it. What's the physics of dandelion growth?
The physics of dandelion growth? I have no idea.
Me neither. No. Who controls pineapples?
Dole, obviously.
Right, right, absolutely. When do moths and ants collide?
Moss and ants. When do they collide?
Mhm.
During a hurricane.
Aha. How does a mouse fly? The higher, the faster.
Say that one again.
How does a mouse fly? The higher, the faster.
Let's see. A mouse flies when it's trying to get away from a mouse trap.
Right.
Yeah, I think when it
Yeah.
snaps on its tail, it jumps in the air and flies.
Kidding.
I've seen that happen.
Yeah. Have you?
Yeah.
In your apartment?
In my house, yeah.
In your house?
Yeah.
Ugh. Don't you hate it when they get smaller and smaller, the ones in the traps? And
Oh,
as
it's,
soon as you
oh,
yeah.
it's horrible.
It's awful. When is a race over, Sue?
When everyone is laughing.
Why is white not a color?
Because it's so boring.
Do you prefer broccoli or cauliflower, and why?
You know, depending on the day, most days I prefer broccoli.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, just because you can do lots of yummy things with it. And cauliflower, you have to really be in the mood.
Right.
But sometimes I love cauliflower.
Do you like it with cheese or do you like it curried? Have you tried it?
I like it both.
Yeah.
Actually,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why are 3 red X's art?
Because somebody created them. It's a creation.
Uh-huh. And why is a squashed cat art?
Oh, that squashed cat? Because somebody created it.
Uh-huh. How are you related to Madonna?
She's my, let's see. She's my cousin's aunt's niece.
Oh, on your mother's side or your father's side?
My father's side.
Father's. How is your screenplay coming along?
Great.
Good.
How did you know?
Well, everybody in Missoula is writing a screenplay. So.
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah,
Pretty
it's
well.
great.
Good. Why do politicians think they should be elected because their grandmother was born in Montana?
Well, that's as good a reason as any, personally, I would have to say.
Who makes the rules about cross-dressing?
Who makes the rules? I don't think there are any rules. I don't think there are any rules.
What's the difference between gargle and gargoyle?
Oh, well, gargle is when you're have got mouthwash and you're, churning it up in your mouth. And gargoyle is one of those kind of medieval monsters made out of stone. Or
Right.
yeah,
Good. And how do you spell gargoyle?
Gargoyle.
Yes. Who do you think is more handsome, Mike Cadiz or Dan Kemmis?
Well, I don't think you can compare them because they're different. Dan Kemmis has that older gray hair. I think he's very attractive. And I think Mike has got great, have you ever seen Mike's legs?
No.
Oh my God.
Actually. Really?
Mike has the most muscular thighs and calves that you have ever seen. It's amazing.
That's handsome.
Yeah.
Why does Max Baucus believe there are no railroad trains in China?
I don't know why he does it. I mean, that was really bizarre. He obviously was not looking in the right place or talking to anyone who knew anything. I don't know.
Are you excited about the Reserve Street expansion?
No. I mean, I'm not, no.
And do you believe in low flush toilets?
I have a mixed opinion about that. I sort of do, but I sort of don't. Because if you don't want to flush all the time, I've always been someone who hasn't flushed all the time. And you can't have a low flush toilet.
It really reeks, doesn't it?
Well, it won't even go down,
Yeah.
But then again, I guess if you have a low flush toilet, you would flush it all the time. And I'm not sure how that compares in
Yeah.
My guess is that every time, I forget what it is, but every time you flush, it's, I don't know, 50
8,
gallons
10,
or something. It's
something
some
like that.
ridiculous thing.
Yeah.
So it seems like it would be more efficient to not flush very often, but I could be wrong.
The toilets in England flush for about a half hour. It's really incredible. I guess they do that rather than hire cleaning people.
What do you mean they flush?
I mean, they really go for a long time. There's a phone, I know. One last question.
Okay.
How do you believe the dispute at Missoula Community Access Television should be solved?
I think that I think you might want to consider having a mediator. Actually, sit down and get all the parties who are in the conflict, find out what the key issues are. I mean, I've heard a little bit of both sides, and conflicts happen, and it just sounds like people need to talk about it and find out what the issues are and then go from there. And I think one of the things that I think mediation helps with is it helps people remember that there's many different solutions. There's not just one or two. There's all kinds of creative possibilities, and it seems like maybe people have lost sight of that potential. So.
Thanks very much, Sue.
Sure.
All right. Thanks.
Bye. Have a great day.
Okay. And this is Sean Gantz signing off.
With Ingrid with the hat on. Deb, do you possess a virtual identity?
No.
And Ingrid, what keeps helicopters aloft?
I think that it might be the balloons that are filled with helium in the wings, actually.
And what is the physics of dandelion growth, Deb?
Oh, let's see. I think a lot of energy.
Who controls pineapples?
Pineapples. Let me think about that.
Do you know who controls pineapples, Deb?
No, not really.
And either one of you, when do moths and ants collide?
Probably during spring thunderstorms, right, Deb?
I think so, yeah.
How does a mouse fly? The higher or the faster?
One more time?
How does a mouse fly? The higher or the faster?
Oh, he does both.
Yeah.
When is the
Good
race
answer.
over?
When it's over.
Do you agree with that, Ingrid?
Yeah, after it starts and people start to finish, it's over, right?
Why is white not a color?
Because it's light.
Do you agree with that, Ingrid?
You know, I'm not really sure what I think, to be honest with you.
Do you prefer broccoli or cauliflower, and why?
Broccoli.
I like broccoli flower.
Why?
Because they're both broccoli and cauliflower, so you get to enjoy both at the same time.
And why are the 3 red X's art?
What 3 X's?
The 3 red X's down by the Northern Pacific Station.
Well, probably because some artist came up with the idea and basically made it real.
What is the idea?
The idea of 3 red X's? Good question.
Why is a squashed cat art?
Squash cat.
Come again?
Why is a squashed cat art?
I don't think it's art.
And now, how are each of you related to Madonna?
I don't claim that.
Well, unfortunately, I think I grew up in the same city she did. So. I guess by a proximal location, I'm related to her. I don't know.
And how's your screenplay coming along, Ingrid?
My screenplay? Oh, you mean the one I've been working on for years now?
Yeah.
Maybe another 10.
Oh, I think it continues until you die.
Who makes the rules about cross-dressing?
Probably each individual cross-dresser, you know, they have their own style.
And who do you think is more handsome, former Mayor Dan Kemmis or present Mayor Mike Kadis?
Can't really say I know what they look like.
Neither do I. So.
And why does Senator Max Baucus believe there are no railroad trains in China?
Because he hasn't been there?
He hasn't been there. There are railroad trains in China.
Yeah, you were there last year, right?
I was on a railroad train in China.
Do you believe in low flush toilets?
Definitely.
Yeah.
I live in Arizona, and they're having a water shortage right now, and they really need to put those on almost every toilet, and not just in places that are short on water. We need to
New
conserve our
Mexico
water.
as well.
Yeah.
Well, we're about to sign off. Do you have anything to say to the people of Missoula in conclusion?
Just be excellent to each other.
Yep. And enjoy this beautiful weather.
Yay, I'm home!
We are with Susan's Funny Faces. She's a dynamic face painter in Missoula. And we're going to ask her a few questions here outside of Bernice's Bakery on this beautiful Thursday morning to be shown tonight at 9. Thursdays at 9 is the program. She does original design and entertainment, and she does birthdays and holidays and promotions and all kinds of events and celebrations. So we're here with Susan this morning. And Susan, I wonder, do you possess a virtual identity as well as a face painter identity?
Well, I'm not sure what you mean. Could you put it a different way?
Virtual identity is like having a website or
No.
or
No.
something like that. Or
No, I don't have a computer.
Mhm.
The computer I have is in my brain.
Terrific. So you do possess a virtual identity.
Right.
Then.
That is it.
There we go.
That's right.
What keeps helicopters aloft?
Probably they're fast spinning propellers. I don't know.
I think you're right. What is the physics of dandelion growth?
I don't know.
Who controls pineapples?
I do.
You do. I wonder.
Yes, I do.
When do moths and ants collide?
I don't know. Probably when one is eating one of the other ones.
How does a mouse fly? The higher, the faster?
I have no idea.
When is a race over?
When it's done. When someone wins. Yes.
Why is white not a color?
It's absence of color in light, but I'm not sure if I remember why. But in paint, I guess it is a color, isn't it? Okay.
What do you prefer, broccoli or cauliflower?
Broccoli. You can do more things with it.
Like what?
Like put it in a quiche or eat it plain.
Ah. Why are 3 red X's art?
I don't know, but you know what? To me, it's not.
And why is a smashed cat art?
Oh, that's so sad. Maybe because it has an interesting shape.
How are you related to Madonna?
Not at all, thank God.
How is your screenplay coming along?
I'm always on a constant screenplay, my own play that that's life. That's just how I am every day. It just comes along all the time.
Why do politicians think they should be elected because their grandmother was born in Montana?
Because they're biased.
Who makes the rules about cross-dressing?
There aren't any rules anymore, and I don't know. I guess fashion tries, but I don't know.
How do you spell gargoyle, Susan?
Oh, one of my favorite words. Oh, I don't know. Maybe it is G-A-R-G-O-L-E the way it sounds, but I don't know.
And what's the difference between a gargoyle and gargling?
Gargling is something that you do in your mouth with liquid, and gargoyles are just kind of like creatures.
Why does Max Baucus believe there are no railroad trains in China?
I don't know.
Are you excited about the Reserve Street expansion?
I don't know what my feelings are exactly. I'm sure there's good and bad and pros and cons, and I probably would see good in it and bad in it.
Do you believe in low flush toilets?
No, high flush. They work better.
And how do you believe the dispute at Missoula Community Access Television should be solved?
I'm sorry, I'm a little naive on the subject, so I can't really say.
Okay. Well, thanks, Susan. That was excellent. And good to meet you again,
Thanks.
as we always meet again and again.
Okay,
and again
thank
in
you.
Missoula.
It was a
All
nice
right.
day to meet you.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Beer Wag of Kent Brothers Automotive on 4th Street. And Steve is showing a lot of leg today underneath that mechanic's apron. Steve, I'm going to turn this microphone over to you. This is serious, as you know. This is Sweeps Week. We're in Missoula Community Access Television. We're in serious competition with KPAX, KECI, and the Fox television channel to see who's producing the best TV interviews and shows of the week. And here's your microphone, Steve. You ready?
I am.
Do you possess a virtual identity?
Of course.
What keeps helicopters aloft?
The thickness of the air.
What is the physics of dandelion growth?
Oh, it's the same as everything else. It's that white milk inside.
I'm sorry,
It's that white milk inside the stem.
I see, good. Who controls pineapples?
Hawaii.
When do moths, M-O-T-H-S, and ants collide?
Got me on that one. Sorry.
When do moths and aunts collide?
Aunts?
A-U-N-T-S.
Oh. I don't have
How
any
does a
aunts.
mouse fly? The higher, the faster.
A mouse? Fly? I've never seen a mouse fly. I've never seen a mouse fly.
When is a race over?
At the end.
Why is white not a color?
Because it's a complete absence of color.
Do you prefer broccoli or cauliflower, and why?
I prefer broccoli because it's green.
Do you recall President Bush vomiting into the lap of the Japanese Prime Minister?
Yes, and it was green too.
Well, and why are the 3 red X's art?
Well, because it's a model train. It's a model train blown way out of proportion. And if it was on the end of a railroad track and it was in proportion, it would be small, but it's blown way out of proportion, so it's art.
Very good. And how is it that you're related to Madonna?
It's some kind of degrees of separation. I'm just not sure.
How's your screenplay coming along?
It's coming along wonderfully. I'll tell you about the characters, but I'm sure you don't have time for all that.
Well, just give us a thumbnail of the major character.
The major character is a mild-mannered mechanic who is into automotive forensics. And don't tell anybody that I work on motorhomes, okay?
All right. And who makes the rules about cross-dressing?
I don't believe there are any.
And how do you spell gargoyle?
With the G.
Excellent. And why do politicians in Montana think they should be elected because their grandmother was born in Montana?
Well, because it's an age-old family tradition. If you're a Montanan for that long, you deserve to be in office.
Who do you think is more handsome, former Mayor Dan Kemmis or present Mayor Mike Katis?
Dead tie.
Why does Max Baucus believe there are no railroad trains in China?
I didn't know he believed that. Odd.
Do you believe in low flush toilets?
Yes, definitely.
And finally, on a serious note, how do you believe the dispute at Missoula Community Access Television might be resolved?
You know, if I knew the answer to that question, McCarthy, I would be making it happen right now. But I don't.
Steve Bierwag, thanks very much.
You're welcome.
This is Sean Gant from Thursdays at 9, signing off. Thank you, MCAT. This program was produced with equipment and facilities provided by Missoula Community Access Television, MCAT. And thanks to McCarthy Coyle and the people of Missoula for their candid answers to our questions today. And see you tonight on TV. Bye.
Almost forever.
Half forever. Now she's supposed to pick the papers up right over here at this gas station. How did we miss her? Is that her right there? Is that her bike? Over there?
I don't know. Let me look. It's a bike.
I don't think that's her bike.
It's got something in it.
Gotta be here someplace.
What kind of papers are they?
Daily rag, newspapers. She may have that dog with her.
I think she starts at the flower shop.
She said I overheard her saying she was picking up the papers at that gas station.
a mystery.
I hope she's not playing with our minds.
We're just going round and around.
I'm gonna check in this oil up place and see. She's already left the paper there.
Do we need gas yet?
She said she was gonna drop a paper there. I don't see any paper. She couldn't be this far already. I'm gonna backtrack.
Flower shop. Start at the flower shop. Examine that bike
What? Which bike?
on the corner back there.
Okay.
Go around the block again.
Whoever designed my car can lick my sweaty sack. And I got no brakes. I know it's way out of we live on time today. I hear hey, watch it.
got her in the camera eye. There's that dog of hers. She's looking at us. There she is by that corner house. Good throw. She got it up on the porch. She's circling back. Ah, she just went back for the dog.
Coyle chamber right there. KBGA 89.9, that's designed to wake you up.